I have a Gallup poll here for us that is saying that 46% of Americans believe in creationism, still believe.
Right.
Which I've heard much lower numbers before.
Yeah,
so
I've heard something like 20-something%.
Yeah.
But polls are always all over the place.
I typically try and trust Gallup polls. I usually enjoy them because they seem to have a longer history, so they have a better comparison over a long period of time.
Yeah.
But this one was a little interesting because I really didn't enjoy the way that they worded the questions. So the polling questions were, number one, human beings... Sorry, this is about... the polling questions were specific about whether you believe in evolution and what form you believe in it. And so question one was... Human beings have developed over millions of years from less advanced forms of life, but God guided this process. Okay, so that's option one.
Right.
Option two is human beings have developed over millions of years from less advanced forms of life, but God has had no part in this process.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the evolution option.
Right.
And then number three is God created human beings pretty much in their present form at one time within the last 10,000 years or so. So that's the full-on creationism.
Right.
Now, the part that bothers me is that the evolution option even has, like, God in the wording.
Right.
You know, and or, like, at the least, if you had to have something like that in there, then you could put it in, you know, like, supernatural forces or something. But really, evolution, like, why does it even need, like, the term God as no part of it? You know, like, because... that seems kind of specific. It's like, what if that just said, but, you know, Allah, or, you know, but Muhammad, or it's like, it doesn't, I don't know. It seems like it's already coming from a semi-biased point, the way that the question's worded. Anyway, so it noted that with these options, 15% believed in the evolution without any divine, you know, so there's only 15% that believe in evolution. 32% that believed in the theistic evolution, where God helped evolution.
Right.
And then 46% believed in creationism, which those numbers are pretty staggering. Now, apparently in the last 30 years, the believe in evolution has gone up 6%.
Okay.
And the theistic evolution has gone down 6%. And it's actually the creationism in 30 years has still gone up, just 2%. But it's still gone up.
I don't know. This poll is actually at odds with everything else I have ever heard on this subject.
I will admit that that's kind of, you know, the same issue that I've had.
The polls that I have seen tend to have this sort of uniformity, you know, with a little bit of difference in the numbers, but there tends to be a uniformity of only like 20% of Christians believe in a literal creation, and most of them, the vast majority of them, actually believe in some kind of like theistic evolution.
Right.
Like
well,
the Catholic Church has even declared for the theistic evolution idea.
Like I said,
so,
that number is 32%, the theistic evolution. I mean, you add those two together, theistic and full-on evolution, you have 47. So it's just right above creationism.
Right. Well,
which maybe
this
makes
is why
it
I don't like
wash
polls,
out a
because
little bit.
depending on how they word things, or it's such a matter of like who you ask, or even if you ask the same people, literally, like, you know, you get Bob Smith and Mandy White, and you get like all like the same people you ask all the time. It's like what they had for breakfast this morning, how they feel, if they exercised yesterday, if they feel kind of depressed today. It totally, their answers end up varying even from the individual person, and so it's just.
But we also use the polls in our favor a lot, so it's, you know, I mean, and this still isn't exactly a strong case for creationism anyway. I mean, because.
Well, and it wouldn't matter even if 100% of the people, or if 90% of the people believed in creationism, it doesn't make it true.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and one of the things that this poll added was like how it gets its like demographic data as well as part of the poll, and so things like church attendance is brought into, you know, like who the person is and the answer that they give.
Right.
So with they did note that there is a strong positive correlation between believing in creationism and regular church attendance.
Yeah.
So those.
That's how brainwashing works.
Basically, yeah. Those who attend church weekly, 67% believe in creationism.
Yeah.
Almost weekly or monthly, 55%. And then seldom drops down to 25%. So it happens quick. And then it also noted that Americans who believe in creationism are more likely to be Republican than Democrat or Independent.
I don't think that comes as a surprise to anyone.
By 58%, compared to 41% of Democrats. 39% of independents, which I found that interesting. And then also education level is also strongly a corollary to believing in evolution.
Right.
So those with postgraduate college experience are 29% believing in evolution, and college graduate is 14%. If you actually have graduated college, bachelor degree or otherwise.
So 14%
believe in evolution, full on. Now that part is slightly.
Wait, that sounds like you just said people who don't go to college, 29% of them believe in evolution, and only 14% of people who went to college.
Postgraduate, like master's degrees, doctorates, and such.
Gotcha.
29%. Those with bachelor's degrees, 14%.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
But the bigger corollary is that you watch the numbers for the theistic evolution.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so in the high school or less, and in the creation section, you get 52% believe in creationism. So low education and full-on creation belief. And then you get 42%, which is basically the highest percentage of this table, is if you went to college or you have postgraduate work like masters or otherwise, then you believe in theistic evolution. So there is this sharp conversion from at least going from creationism to the theistic evolution, you know, of at least like believing in evolution, like you don't deny the evidence, but you still put God's hand in it, you know, and so that's kind of an interesting.
And this is why people like Rick Santorum think that college is brainwashing, because it's funny that when you learn things, you know things, and it changes. It's funny to me that people like Rick Santorum can not see how going to church every week and being told the same thing again and again and again is not brainwashing. But then going to college and learning learning about evidence and learning about facts and learning about how the scientific process works, and then not having to go to it week after week after week after week, that's the brainwashing. But not the thing where you have to go and have it like reinforced all the time. It's insane to me.
It's an interesting point.
But then Rick Santorum is an insane person.
Well, he's already in that group, so he can't see the brainwashing. I mean, he's in that culture, so you can't see it when you're within it. You know what I mean?
If they could.
It'd be nice.
It would be.
It'd be helpful.
It would be fantastic.
Well, that was all that I had for that article. I just thought some of the numbers were kind of interesting, and certainly the corollaries of things like the fact that Republicans are more likely to believe, and education changes your view on it, either between believing full on in evolution you know what, I will make the point on that table that, you know, because people do talk about the brainwashing and how the colleges are like teaching, you know, people to be atheists, basically, right? Well, the data for this actually shows that when you get the more the education, you are likely to leave the creationist idea behind, but not necessarily remove the God. So the percentage of people who remove the God is still really low, especially in just graduate, like just bachelor's degree. The masters and doctorates do have a higher, you know, propensity to removing God from the equation, but it kind of shows you that it's not just education makes you an atheist. I mean, a lot of people
makes you critically
they learn
think.
Something, and then maybe they still keep the God attached to it, but it doesn't. I mean, you don't have to. You know, believing in evolution really does not mean, you know, God does not exist.
Sure.
They don't equal each other.
It's not one or the other.
It is a separate argument between God and evolution.
But but not if you speak to a theist. Not if you speak to a really hardline theist. They don't understand the difference. Because when you talk to the really hardline theist, it's not the person who has this sort of theistic evolution where, evolution happened, but God is still there. No, they're the people who are like 10,000 years old, God created us in 7 days. And anything about evolution must automatically be not true because it disproves that. And that can't be wrong.